Welcome to Aligned Ambition, Authentically Kate, where we dive into the truth behind business, mindset, and well-being. I'm Kate Hanson, and I believe success should feel aligned, not exhausting. So join me for inspiring stories, some actionable insights, and the confidence to build a life on your terms. Welcome back to Aligned Ambition, Authentically Kate. Today, we are diving in to the power of play and how it transforms the way we live, lead, and connect. My guest is Donavan Robinson, a Red River Métis entrepreneur, ADHD advocate, and a co-founder of PopCoLab. He helps companies and communities strengthen culture, creativity, and connection through playful, purpose-driven experiences. I am not surprised that our souls have connected because this is something I have always loved and been attracted to, is maintaining that childlike curiosity, always trying to learn new skills, new talents, learning jazz music, learning to paint and sketch. So I love that you've turned this into something for the larger population, Donovan. I think that's really great. To kick us off, I was hoping that you would start with telling us a little bit about who you are and what lights you up right now, personally and professionally.
Yeah. Well, thanks for having me on the podcast. It's fun. Who am I? I guess it's a bit of a loaded question, but well, to start, I have two kids, so I'm a dad, and my wife, I'm a husband. So those are probably my top things that I would be very proud of. But I would say I'm definitely an entrepreneur, and my journey through that has been in hospitality, retail, marketing. So a lot of different avenues, but I think it's all led me to building PopCoLab, which is really working around play-based activities and trying to bring play back into our adult lives. And that's really my mission and my focus now.
So I'm kind of curious, when you say you did all those different industries, just as somebody who's also been in a number of different industries, when you were doing that, were you sort of seeking out some form of fulfillment? Or like if something didn't turn out, did you think, oh man, like I'm lost? Or did you know this was all building towards your bigger vision one day?
I'm not a good planner, so I would say no, but it just kind of all fell into place. I think most of the businesses, or probably all of them, I would say there's an experience around it. What we were trying to create was experiences, whether it's marketing for companies, whether it's a live music venue, a pizza place. So things like that, where it all came down to like, what are people feeling? What's that experience we're giving them? And so I think what I'm building now is definitely around experiences, but also around building environments and allowing people to understand themselves and doing that through play. And I think all the businesses I had really were play to me, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So you were kind of just following your joy, like whatever was lighting you up
100%.
at that time. Yeah.
100%. Yeah.
I really like that. It's so funny with planning out this podcast. It's like, oh, I want to be prepared with questions. But as you're talking, I have a gazillion other questions that I feel like they're way more pressing. I'm going to try to keep myself restrained a little bit. So what value or principle or belief guides you in most of your work in life?
Ooh, good question. I would say just trying to make sure that I am enjoying what I'm doing. And because I know I'm going to do the best at that if it excites me and I enjoy it, and it's doing something positive, there's a purpose around it. I'm very purpose driven. I'm not really driven by money or things like that, which sometimes would be a challenge because I do have to make money. I have to make a living, right? I have a family and things like that. So I think sometimes I have to. Yeah, there's too many things that excite me and I always gravitate to those things. But I think using my experience and my background, really kind of understanding where I can bring value to financially, but also personal fulfillment.
Okay. I think that that's really interesting because it's like a common thread of a lot of creative individuals who are entrepreneurs, even sales professionals, different people who are in like business for themselves. it's like that expression of themselves. They want to have an impact, they want to make a difference, but they're following that. I guess it's like the desire to have an impact. How that's even a bigger driver than money, which I think would shock people who look at entrepreneurs. I think they think they're just out to make more money.
Right.
So if you would, and share what you're comfortable with, but I would love you to share a little bit more detail about your journey as an entrepreneur. Like what led you to take that path of entrepreneurship, and what has been maybe like one of your biggest learning moments through that awareness?
Yeah, I think I've kind of just, because I've always kind of been driven by what I'm excited about. It was building my first business was a marketing agency. It was actually a design studio. It wasn't a full service marketing agency. It became that over time. But I was a designer by trade. That's my background. Is I went to school to be a graphic designer. I came out and started working for a company and realized like I kind of have a bit of um, defiance issues or authority issues. And so working for myself just seemed to be the right path. I did take some more schooling and then started Vantage, which was the design studio at the time. But what I realized is like I could get bored really easy with doing the same thing over and over. And so I started leveraging that the company to buy into other businesses. So the next one was say a bar, but then also a pizza place as well. And then these things kind of just snowballed, and there's this almost domino effect of building out the live music venue, which is the Goodwill Social Club, and then leaving the agency. During the agency, I did create the Made Here store as well, and then I left the agency and then started building PopCoLab through that. So, I mean, there's a lot of things in between that. I kind of skipped and bounced around really quickly, but yeah, I think I also forgot the question, so I don't even know if I answered it right. So,
Well, that like it was your journey of entrepreneurship,
right.
but it makes me think like what made you embrace that you get bored easily as opposed to like I think we're around the same age, what you'd be taught in school, like just pay attention, stay focused, as opposed to just feeling shame about that. Like what made you go, okay, well, I'm going to make this how I work.
Yeah. Well, I would say a big part of that was finding out that I have ADHD. And so and then learning about it and how uh, not because it's a spectrum, right? Everyone's different, but learning how I work and how I can thrive. And it comes down to two things, really. It's environment. So the physical, but also the people you're around, that's going to help you. That's going to determine whether you thrive or you're going to have challenges. And the other thing is just knowing yourself. So having ADHD, there's a lot of research and data. And so learning that, I identified, oh, okay, these are where I'm having trouble because of these certain things. And it does come down to those two things, right?
Was it kind of like a permission slip for you to just embrace it? Like when you realize like there is something here and that it's nothing wrong with me and that I'm just going to like benefit from it?
Yeah, I would say I also like there's a bit of it's not an excuse, but it's a reason, right? And so there's a lot of people that could take that and say, well, I do this because, right? There's lots of things that
Yeah.
I regret that happened in my
Yeah.
life. Knowing that possibly because of ADHD could have caused those things. And if I would have knew earlier, maybe I would have avoided some of these challenges in my life. But I don't know if I would have wanted those challenges not to be there because it's led me to where I am today, right? And so, I'm in no means, financially secure and I have, living on a mansion on the hill or anything like that, but I'm happy doing what I'm doing. And I know that it's going somewhere and I have a vision, even though I like to go off the path a lot. I still know what this purpose and this goal is.
Yeah, and I think it's really interesting and not talked about often is the people who are very financially secure and living in the mansion on the hill would give anything to feel the freedom and happiness that you feel,
Yes,
right?
definitely. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
we're not bragging about that on social media the same way as look at my personal plane or whatever.
Right.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah, because the more people I've met who are in the opposite situation, it hurts my heart to see how much they crave self-expression or freedom, but they got so far that they're like, it's too late to turn around. and they would crave the lifestyle that you and I feel like I have as well, living intentionally and what makes me happy. Um, so I'm happy for you that you're feeling happy right now. I think that's the best blessing you could have. Is there something that you've learned the hard way when trying to balance your ambition with your own personal well-being?
I think I still am learning that, right? So
Yeah,
there's so many times like I'm building a business around play and I forget to do it sometimes, right? Even the things that I do that I consider play become work. And
yeah,
so because you're really trying to get these things done and you have to make you do have to make money, right? I know that's is part of a business. And I look at it as like there's running a business and building a company. And when you run a business, the goal is to make money, right? When you're building a company, sometimes in the beginning it's not about that, and it's about doing everything in your power to make it successful, and then the money comes. So I have to bounce around between those two because there's we're not funded. A lot of this is done out of my own pocket or our family savings and things like that. So
yeah, and your own, like, what's that called? Like, your own ambition, like, you have to be out there doing the work, otherwise it doesn't go anywhere. I think too that's a misconception that people who are self-employed or business owners, that they have this complete freedom, and it's like, you're actually wearing every hat. You're actually probably working more than 9 to 5 because you're always thinking about it, always working on it. But if you're enjoying it, I think that's the difference, and like you said, reminding yourself not to take it so seriously or let it get so heavy.
yeah, definitely.
Would you agree with that?
Yes. Yeah.
Um, okay, so you've been open about your ADHD and kind of the identity that can come with that. How have those personal experience shaped the way that you lead your own business today or approach like your own clients today?
Yeah, it's definitely understanding that everybody functions differently and even in companies. So when we work with companies, we're trying not to do a one size fits all approach. And so our space probably lends well to someone with ADHD, right? But then there's people that, it's not for them. And so that's still a challenge. And I'm not saying I figured that out, but we're collecting data and we're learning and figuring things out and trying to build. So play is there's play profiles, right? And so everybody enjoys play differently. Some people have multiple ways they enjoy to play. And so the goal of PopCoLab is to understand all of those and try to build in programs or experiences that allow for everyone to have fun, right? So we're probably more focused right now on the hands-on creative or trivia type of things, but we do want to get more into the other types of play.
Um, I love it. I can't wait to see what's gonna come. Like, I think I've messaged you a bunch since I've met you about all these things. I'm like, I'm so excited about your business and things that you're doing. Um, but I this is gonna be a bit of a story to go along with me. Last night, normally I watch like I really, really love murder mysteries, but last night I found this like cheesy pop love romance movie that was on Netflix. So I was like, oh, what the heck? What a change of pace. I'll put that on. So cheesy. I could barely watch half of it, but it had me thinking because they were like university, just out of university. And I thought, what age do we stop playing with our identity? That like when you're young and you're like, oh, I'm going to be a nurse, I'm going to be a doctor, I'm going to be a musician. Everybody's like, cool, because you're a kid. You're trying to figure it out. Like, what age do we're like, no, now you need to know. No more play. Figure it out. Like, we should be playing with different identities our whole lives because we don't stay the same person. And I just think it's too, like, what you're doing is really good timing because I think that's part of the mental health issue right now is that people feel so stuck. Like they made a decision and now they're tied to it until they die. And I just think you can still explore outside of your profession, or you can like play in your profession, or you could change positions. Like, do you come into that at all? Like, when you're thinking play, are you doing this for people's mental health? Are you doing this for them to maybe discover sides of themselves? Like, what do you really want people to get out of this play?
Yeah, all of those things for sure. Like it is, you watch your kids play, right? That's how they learn, they innovate, they grow. It's not just useless time wasted, right? Or just doing these things. It's important. It's evolutionary. If we didn't have play in, the back in the day, right? there's evolutionary things that play is around. So I'm probably not wording that right in the way I'm trying to present it, but yeah, I mean, it's also looking at giving people the ability to learn new things or just try new things, and that might get them to be excited and do other things. So I'm not in no means saying, "Hey, quit your job and just play all day," like I did, but you can definitely do something that's maybe outside of your day to day, right? And so I consider myself a generalist, right? Like I wouldn't say I'm an expert in anything, but I have a really good understanding of a lot of things. And so that gives me a really good opportunity to kind of look at things from a different vantage point, right? So
And reach a lot of different types of people, I'm sure.
right. Yeah.
I also think like play leads to invention. I remember reading this book. There was somebody who was the first person to ever in the world play piano, and that was guaranteed through curiosity and play. And nobody had to teach them lessons or anything. It was like they developed it, same like the airplane. So I feel like play is also a place where you might next level yourself because you're going to discover a skill or a trait or an idea that you didn't think of when you were doing the same thing every day. Like, I feel like that's how invention happens. That's how, like, you could discover something nobody else has thought of and it could make everything better in your environment.
100%. That's exactly what it is. Like I experience that every day. I'm always playing. And sometimes, you do have to, okay, I need to get these things done. Again, I'm driven by novelty. If this excites me, I'm going to play around with that until I'm bored of it. Right. But the things that come from that are sometimes amaze me, right? It's like, oh wow, I figured this out just by, I'm not a contractor or a carpenter by any means, and I just did it. And I could see things. I would just get better and better at it, right? It's like anything you do, right? But if you enjoy it and you're having fun doing it, it's easier to keep at it, right?
Yeah, like more sustainable. I feel
Yeah,
like it's not feeling like a heavy weight around you, like a burden or a should. I think it's more sustainable.
you're right. Yes, yes.
Yeah. Um, yeah, I just keep thinking about how every like artists have to play and people who have like architects, they're playing. Like if it is what you care about, it's just such a cool idea and concept that you're developing and working on. And I remember in psychology when I was in school, I studied psychology and sociology, and I remember now you just reminded me of the studies of how different parts of your brain open up when you're playing, as opposed to the mundane automatic stuff that you're doing all the time. Like it's actually opening up other parts of you that you're not accessing. So there's so many benefits. Um, so one of the other things, just because I know this is really the point of what I want to talk about, so people don't only hear the good, but when things get really busy or overwhelming, what practices or support systems help you stay grounded and aligned with what matters most to you?
Like I'd say my kids, right? And
Yeah.
that's also like playing with my kids because when I realize like I'm just too tired to play with them, something's wrong, right? So so I definitely need to take that type of play into consideration because it's a different type of play. And so it changes the way my brain's thinking at that moment in that time of day, which is good. And I see it as a very positive thing. Sometimes it's hard. It's like, I'm just exhausted, right? But that's definitely probably one of the biggest things. Like they're probably one of my biggest inspirations for what I'm doing because I see them, you know, play and I watch it real time. I also see adults do the same thing. We do strategic workshops, and when we add play into those, workshops, we see a change, especially from the start of this whole thing to the end of it. We have a 4-hour workshop, and you see people are happier, they're more engaged, they're communicating better, right? Some people are scared. The CEOs in the in the workshop, and at first it's like they're not wanting to say things or they don't know what to say. And as soon as that CEO has brought themselves down or brought them up to that same, It's
level.
level of perception, right? It changes things, and play is the tool that we use to make that happen.
Yeah, that is really fascinating how it would take time, but they also say, community, how much we all crave community. That's why the pandemic was so brutal. And play is definitely like what you're doing when you're with different people or as kids. It's community. It's usually like you can play by yourself, but I mean, when I think of play, I think of races with my friends down the street or like running to get popsicles or different things that we did together as a group to just have fun.
Yeah. Well, play is a part of play is connection, right? It's how we are able to connect. So if you sit somebody at a table and they're just talking and, it's not easy, right? But you add some play in there and you could see people change that mindset, and they open up and they start talking and they get to know people a little better, right? And play is the big thing for that. I see it all the time.
And it builds trust, I imagine. Like, if
100%.
you're willing to be vulnerable and go all in with other people, it shows a side of you that people can trust because 'cause you're being a little bit more real as opposed to performing your role.
Right. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, that'd be really interesting, especially maybe, in parties of people who have differences of opinion, or maybe there's tension. I could see that being a really good mediation form to have them be forced to kind of play
Yeah.
together, see
Yes.
what comes out of it.
For sure. Yeah.
But, like, I understand, so when you're saying that your children, I think that's really cool because 'cause I'm always telling people, like, what are your symptoms when you're out of alignment so that you can listen and act fast to get back on track. But say it was something to do with, like, your mental health. As a business owner, there's lots of learning curves. It could get discouraging. You hear no, things break down, things don't go as planned. If you're having those discouraging moments where like things are feeling heavy or the pressure's getting to you, do you have other ways that you make sure you're taking care of yourself, like so that it doesn't get the best of you?
Yeah. Like I should definitely do more personal uh
Cares?
care for sure. I think physical activity and working out is important. I don't do enough of that. Um I meditate. I try to meditate as much as possible. And breathing exercises. Those actually make a huge difference for me. So those are things that I've been doing in the last few years that I think has made a huge impact. Even just resetting how, if I'm tired or stressed or worried about things, it usually seems to help. So those I would say are the two main things that I would focus on. Definitely need to be doing more physical activity though.
Yeah, what's nice about the ones that you're sharing too is they're empowering. Nobody else has to do it for you. You don't have to wait. Like those are things you can do, like really, literally wherever you are if you need that. And reminding yourself that's okay, that nobody's perfect and that we all have our moments where we need a moment to regroup.
Yeah. Also, I mean, also just doing something with my hands. That's always, whether it's drawing, making something, even cleaning, right? Cleaning is a really something that clears my head. So I probably also, I'm very, I want to be organized, and it's easy to get messy, and then I get stressed because it's messy. So cleaning resets my brain.
Do you think that's because it gets you into like the present moment? So you're not thinking in the future, the past. Like if you're all the things you mentioned, it's like you're kind of focused in the moment.
100%. That's it. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm very similar. I realize when I'm feeling all the feels, I'm like, okay, I'm either living in the future, or the past. I got to do something that gets me into the moment I'm
Hmm.
in. Again, to me, that's more empowering. 'Cause you're kind of in control again, as
Yeah.
opposed to your mind.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's also what play that's what it's trying to do, right? Is you're playing to be in that moment, because
Yeah.
it's not about what you need to get done. It's about doing that thing at that
What you're
time,
doing.
where, like, if you look at like athletic sports where it's organized sports and you need to win, that
Yeah.
isn't necessarily play. You can play soccer, things like that for fun, but when you're trying
Yeah.
to win, your mind is there, right? On that goal of winning, which is great if that's part of it, but it's not necessarily play in that sense. And so play is really to keep you in that moment.
You know what's funny is that my husband, I think you've met Kyle. He is such a goofball. Since I met him on our like first date, he loved kids. And he like whenever he coaches, he's always assistant coach or head coach. The kids love him because he's fun, Kyle. Fun coach Kyle. And like then we found out that some other siblings were like, I only like to go to my sister's game because of that fun guy. He's like the best adult I ever met. And I thought it's because Kyle can play and he doesn't have to make it all serious. He's like, I'm still getting them to do the same skills and training. I'm just not making them feel like it's a job. I'm making them feel
Yeah.
like it's fun
Yeah. Well,
and it's effective.
I coached kids, and yeah, definitely that's what you need to do for sure.
You can get the same outcome, but you're having a good time. And actually, our daughter played high school hockey last year, and the three women who were coaches were really fun, younger women. And I was like, this is the first time I've ever seen every kid on the ice smiling the entire practice. Like they were having fun because the coaches were having fun.
Hmm.
I was like, what a difference. Like the kids are coming off energized as
Yeah.
opposed to drained. You're working hard either way, but yeah, it's such a subtle little thing to make sure you're involving some component of like play and
Well,
fun.
that's probably like one of the play profiles is the joker, right? It's having fun and joke around. And that's enjoyable for that person who's being the joker, right?
Yeah.
So that's play. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, so cool. So, okay. Just kind of closing up what we've been talking about. It's been such a great conversation. I really appreciate your perspective on this. And I can see like your passion for play comes through. It's so front of mind. But if you were thinking about entrepreneurs or anybody who's kind of in the messy middle of developing themselves or their vision or their passion, what advice would you give them when they're right in the middle of the messy, when they're figuring it all out?
You have to love it, right? I think if you don't love it, it's going to be hard. Um, I mean, passion's part of that. Like you love it because of the passion, things like that. So I think you have to love it. Because then you'll figure things out. It'll be easy, especially for someone who has ADHD. There's, I won't go into the biology of it, but the it's going to be easier if you love it and you enjoy it. There's going to be really hard things, and you know that you can get past it through that. So
Yeah, and who doesn't love the easiest route possible?
right, yes,
I don't think anybody's purposely choosing, like, "Can I make this as hard as possible on myself?" Although I feel like we do that
that's
because it
it.
makes it feel
Yes,
like it was worth it. Like, "Oh, I made it so hard.
yeah. Well,
What if it was easy?"
I guess it depends on what is hard for someone versus like for me. It's hard for me there's the saying, I'd rather fail doing it my way than succeed doing it someone else's. And I think
Yeah.
there's like the easy way is to get help and have somebody guide you through it, but it's not fun. And so that for me would be a little bit harder. So, so it all depends on what you like. Doing a lot of work isn't hard for me. It's doing the work that I don't enjoy that's hard.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, you're so right. It's the person's definition of hard. Um, but yeah. Yeah, because it's not to say that even if you're doing what you love, you don't have those challenging moments that you gotta push through, but I just always like I've even taught myself that now when things feel heavy, I'm always like, okay, what if it was easy? And usually it's taking shit off of my. Can I say that on my own? Yeah.
It's
Usually if it's taking
it's
stuff
your
off of
podcast.
you, I cuss. Usually it's like, okay, maybe I don't have to do the 20 things I put on my own list today.
Mhm.
Um, okay, so then when we're looking at this season that we're going into, or the season you're in or working towards, is there anything that you are most looking forward to in this next season of your life and work?
Well, this is a fairly new business. And so, it's always something new. I really enjoy just meeting so many people, right? Through this thing. So we get companies that have people from all over the world and I get to know them. So that is just going to continue, but also the partnerships, like meeting you or things like that, right?
Yeah.
Like I know that there's more of that to come. So I think that's what's driving me too is like, I never know what's around that corner. And I like that. If I knew what's going to happen, I probably wouldn't do this
Be bored.
anymore. Yeah. Right.
I'm going to try to throw things off here.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's really
We
interesting.
like
So
chaos.
then,
We like chaos.
yeah, happy, joyful, playful chaos.
Yes.
So, if there was anything like, what is there anything that the person listening, if they're intrigued by what you're doing or about your business and about where you're going, is there anything you'd want to share for where they can find you or what they should do to get in touch with you?
Yeah, they can find us online at popcolab.ca, and it's COLAB, like collaboratory, not collab, which probably sounds more like it should be that. Or then on social media, we're pop.collab on most
Awesome.
accounts. So
Yeah, and we're going to share that when we share this episode. We'll have all of that in the notes and descriptions so that if you want to reach out, get in touch, even follow along. Donovan does a great job. The social media for Pop Collab shows you the different flavorings of events that they do and all of the happy faces that people have while they're doing them. I want to thank you so much for agreeing to be my second guest and for reminding us that play isn't a distraction, that it's something that sparks connection and creativity and belonging. It's definitely got my wheels turning about how to bring more play even into my own work, my own time. Um, and to everyone who's listening, if today's episode sparked something within you, please subscribe, leave a review, share this with someone who you think could benefit from hearing about it as well. And join me next time when we have another real conversation about alignment and ambition and making the most of your life and your journey. All right. Thank you again, Donovan.
thank you.
Thank you so much for being here and for sharing this podcast with those who need to hear it. It truly makes a world of difference in getting this message out there. And I would love to connect with you. So go check out my website at kate-hanson.co. And remember, success is best when it's aligned. See you next time.